Alright, in this video we're going to show how to replace the upper and lower ball joints on a front suspension. This is pretty much the same for a 94 as it is for a 75. We're going to do it on the 75. 1975 Toyota Hilux. This is what we're going to do that on. That's my 94 Toyota pickup truck, fully bagged. I have videos on my channel that you can watch of how I did that. The end of this video, we're going to lower this truck some more, so that will be included in this video. But for starters, we're going to replace the upper and lower ball joints on the front suspension. For those of you that are watching this video so that you can lower it, this is what it looks like before we lower it. We're going to single leaf the rear. We'll take one leaf out of the rear, and we're going to cut the springs in the front, bring it down another 3 inches. First, we're going to change the ball valves. The ball valves. God, I don't even know my wording. We're going to change the upper and lower ball joints on the front of the front suspension. All right, the only reason there's rust on this is because we only use this truck once a week. So if you see, that's from last week when we used it. All right, first thing you need to do is once you get in here the wheel well, my wife's on the other side, she's cleaning the other side. We need to get all this dirt off here because there's 4 bolts right there. And then also on the bottom side, you want to clean as much as possible to get all this off if your truck is this old. If it's not that old, then it'll be a whole lot easier for you because this won't be all caked up on there. All right, we think this one was at the bottom of a river somewhere. But anyway, we got all the dirt cleaned off up here because see there's 4 bolts, 1, 2, 3, 4. So we need to get those off of there, plus we need to get it out from in there. And then there's 3 bolts down here, 1, 2, 3, and then this will pop out of there. And then we got to get this castle nut down here. So the first things that we're going to do is we're going to jack this up to support it, and then we can start taking some of this stuff apart. Alright, this thing about killed me. So, not literally. I took the tie rod ends and I loosened it. I took it off of the hub, so then that way the hub was free to move back and forth. The bottom one just goes up in here like this, okay? There's 3 bolts on the top and 1 bolt on the bottom on the back side. What I did was I went ahead and took this out of here. Jack this up, that way I could pull this out. Took the castle nut off the bottom and then proceeded to hammer it with a big hammer on the bottom to pop it out. See, this is tapered. It's smaller here and gets bigger, so the tighter it gets seated in there, it's real tight. And over years, it's hard to get it out of there. So I was able to hammer the bottom one, which that got that popped out. Then the top one was up in there. I took the castle nut off the bottom of that one, and I started beating on the bottom of this with the hammer to get this to pop up, which released this and dropped it down. There's a little bit of slack on this, so you don't want that to be too tight. Next, take these 4 bolts out, and then this will slide out the top. Alright, like I said, there we go. It's got the 4 bolts. There's a bolt head on top and a nut on the bottom. I believe I used a 12 on both of those. And so you have to get those out of there, and then this will just pop out the top. There's no ring or set or anything like that. So that's how that one comes out. And then save those bolts because for some reason our kit didn't come with new ones. So here's the new one, and this is just going to set, oops, let me show you. It's going to set right down in there, and then your bolts will go right into those bolt holes, and you'll bolt that one up, you put the bottom one on and bolt that one up, and then you go ahead and set these in there. Let me show you the other one. Here's the other one. This is the lower. It's going to go up in there, right there like that. Bolt those in there, top and bottom. Once you get done with that, then this will go into the bottom of that. Put your castle nut, Set your Carter key in there and bend the tip down around the bottom, so then that way this won't be able to loosen off. And that concludes the upper and lower ball joint. Just put all this back together the way you took it off, and that's as simple as that. This right here is basically just to protect the shock from having to hold the weight of the coil. So now that we are this far along, now we're going to go ahead and remove the spring so we can cut it and we can get her front end to get lower. So that's what this next portion of the video is going to consist of. Alright, what I did was, there is this thing right here. I knew what it was just a second ago. Sway bar. I took the sway bar off. Then there's 2 bolts on the underside to undo the shock, and then there's one on the top. Take those off, and then that way you can drop the shock out the bottom. But keep the jack underneath your lower control arm so that the spring is compressed. That way you can bring it out. Then what you want to do is, once you get the shock out of there and everything else out of there, slowly bring that down. Please understand that if you bring it down too fast, that spring can fly out and whack you in the head. So stand over here in front of the truck, preferably with nothing next to it, and lower it down slowly. Once you get it down far enough, you'll be able to pull that spring out of there. Now here's the spring here. I'm guessing, okay, a lot of you guys out there are going to know how to do this and know how far to cut it. Because this is the top part of the spring, I'm leaving that flat. This part, I'm going to cut it at the bottom. Now what I'm going to do here first is I'm going to cut it to here. I'm going to go 1, 2. Make sure you cut in a straight line above where it ends, because it has to go back into the spring pocket in the same place. So you don't want to cut this in any other spot. Okay, so I'm going to go to here and I'm going to cut that off, and that's where I'm going to stick it back in the truck. I'm thinking that's going to give us a 3 to 4 inch drop, probably 4. And we're wanting to go quite a bit in the front because there's quite a bit of a wheel gap. So let me get that done, and we're going to put this in and we'll see where we are. This is all we're going to do today. If this works, I'm going to tell you guys to do the other side yourselves, because you done one side, the other side will be just the same. So let me get this done and we'll show you. This is the next week, day number 2. We're out here finishing up lowering my wife's front end. A pollen grabbed a hold of my nose, or the allergies or whatever it was, and I just feel like complete crap. Earlier I had rolls of toilet paper shoved in my nose, paper towels, just so I wouldn't drip all over my work site. Okay, enough of that. Went ahead and we cut that one spring. So this one, we're going to cut it down 1 more notch. We didn't like how that it didn't get low enough. Like I said, we go straight down and cut. So this one, it would be to that one, we're going to go 1 more and cut it there, and that's where we'll put this one in on this side. And then we'll have to take this one back apart, cut it 1 more notch down on the spring, and then reinstall that. Alright, I want to show you guys before we cut this side. This side is done with only the 2 links cut. The other side is 3 links. And this is where we are on this side. We're going to redo this front corner here, but watch out, baby. We're going to show this other side of what it's going to look like. So now, that's where it sits in the front, where I showed you that I cut the spring. So that's sitting just right where we want it, or where she wants it. There's still a little bit of spring. Go over there and bounce it just a little bit. There's still just a little bit of bounce to it. Not much. So we got to get the other side down just a little bit more, and then the next one will be removing the center leaf. You guys have already seen a video on that, but we're going to go ahead and do 1 more video for this one, and then that'll get the rear end squatted, and by that time I'll have to redo the exhaust. It'll be really close to the ground because Yeah, anyway. Thank you for watching. I'm tired. It's started to rain again. But we wanted to finish this side. The sun's starting to come back out, so I'll probably get the other side finished. Thank you for watching. Again, like I keep saying, my nose cleared up a little bit. Thumbs up for working when I'm sick. Please leave a comment. And what'd you do? He's always doing something, huh? Hell, I don't know. Subscribe if you haven't subscribed, please. 1975 Toyota Hilux. My wife's truck. She's happy. She said 2 thumbs up and a toe. Alright, I lied. The sun came back out. There's my wife's truck now. That's where it sits now, all the way on both sides in the front. We got to do the back. As soon as we can, we'll be doing the back. This thing really kind of played with me. Here we go. Oh yeah. Got to do the rear next. Stay tuned. Well, is it real bouncy now? All right. Another satisfied customer.